Just 24 days after rape accused Franco Mullakkal was arrested, Kerala High Court grants bail.
We saw that the prosecution did not express much of a disagreement while the bail was being granted to Franco Mulakkal. And remember, we are just not talking about a bail over here. It is a conditional bail, which means he has been asked to surrender his passport. He cannot leave the country without permission.
The nation witnessed how openly Mulakkal and his aides resorted to shaming and intimidating the victim. Those include allegedly trying to bribe victim's relative and threatening the nuns to withdraw complaint. Franco's Missionaries of Jesus also released a photo of the rape victim in an attempt to intimidate and malign the Kerala nun. Despite alleged instances of Franco attempting to derail the ongoing investigations, he has been granted bail. Mira now asks, has the Kerala police failed to convince the High Court about the gravity of charges against Franco Mulakkal? Will Kerala High Court move Supreme Court to cancel Franco Mulakkal's bail? Let's debate.
So here are the questions we must ask. If this individual has and his cronies have intimidated the witnesses and the victim, if they have threatened, attempted to bribe, and even leaked her identity and her photograph, should he be out on bail? Should the Kerala government and police approach the Supreme Court to stop the bail immediately? Did the Kerala government do enough to prevent this bail from being granted? Joining me on the show, Suri Chopra, leader with the CPIM, Dr. Abraham Mathew, president of the Indian Christian Voice, Sandhya George, advocate in the Kerala High Court representing the organization that supports the nuns and the victims, Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, Ramakant Gaur is a lawyer with the Supreme Court, Indulekha Joseph is an advocate and activist with the Kerala Catholic Church Reformation Movement. I welcome you to this conversation. Ramakant Gaur, I'm going to start with you. We're looking at the order that grants bail to Franco Mulakkal, and it says basically that this person is a senior member of the church and a respected person. In your opinion, should the Kerala government at this point immediately approach the Supreme Court to stop this bail?
I feel that this is travesty of justice, and the Kerala government must approach Supreme Court, and if they do not approach Supreme Court, the victims must approach Supreme Court, because this is not the first order. Faye, this is a case where first bail application of the accused was dismissed by the Kerala High Court a few days back, and later on he is considered to be a respected person and he is being granted bail. I disagree, and I must say that this is causing travesty of justice, and it is an injustice with the victims. This is a particular case where there are instances of intimidating, influencing the witnesses, and thereafter poisoning the character of the victims. This is a case where somebody tried to influence the nuns, tried to bribe them. This is a case where people of a sect tried to collect and then try to portray the victims as somebody who are falsely foisting the allegations. So this is a fit case where the Kerala government should approach. But see the VIP treatment being given to the accused. He is being taken into the custody as if some VIP is being taken to the dais. This is not done. This is not expected from the police and administration to give this kind of treatment to the accused persons.
Well, I also have with me right now Sandhya George. Sandhya George is an advocate with the High Court who has fought for the victims this entire time. Sandhya George, in your previous arguments before the High Court, you pointed out how the victims are not safe. Since then, they have received threats threatening to evict them from the house that they are living in. They have received other kinds of threats. They've been excommunicated by other members of the community. Do you believe that having been granted bail, that Franco Mulakkal is now a threat to the victim?
See, even when he was in jail, he was actually directing the intimidations, because we have seen occasions where when he was in custody, you had the sisters from the missionaries of Jesus in Jalandhar going up and trying to go meet the chief minister, sending circulars and issuing all kinds of notices. So I really don't think that the intimidations are going to stop, and I really feel that the victims are not going to get any kind of confidence by this order of the High Court.
Do you believe this was a travesty of justice as well, Sandhya George?
Definitely. Because see, when you are granting bail, the one of the conditions is basically you will not intimidate. But the fact is that he was arrested despite being his arrest was delayed for almost 3 months, despite doing all the intimidations and coercions, giving him a free rein. So in this particular case, there is clear evidences, the power is very clearly visible, where he doesn't have to be outside the jail. Even within the jail, he's been doing. So I don't. Definitely, it's a travesty of justice.
And Sandhya George, you've been in court. One second. You've been in court, Sandhya George. Do you believe that the Kerala police and the Kerala government put a hard enough fight and placed a strong enough case before the High Court for this bail hearing?
See, they took it as a regular matter. They did not attribute the seriousness which should have been given to this particular case. It was like a regular bail matter. It was nothing else. There was no kind of extra attention given to it.
Right. One more question to Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Singh, you've tracked this case along with us this entire time. You've been on several panels on this channel. Are you surprised that Franco Mulakkal was granted bail, and do you think this bail should be contested immediately?
No, I'm not surprised at all. Taking Mr. Gaur's powerful arguments and Ms. Sandhya's argument forward, I would say that yes, the time is there to immediately oppose the bail and move for bail cancellation to the Supreme Court for 3 reasons. One, that the conduct of Franco before he was arrested leaves in no doubt that he is a master manipulator, and he has used insidious methods to manipulate not only the survivor but her family as well. 2, that the prosecution and the police did not fight hard enough and did not put all the arguments cogently and logically before the High Court. And the 3rd is that he was treated like a VIP. Accused is an accused, and equality before law is a constitutional observation that everybody is equal before law. In that backdrop, I would strongly recommend that bail must be opposed immediately in the Supreme Court. Otherwise, the credibility of the Kerala government and the police would take a beating.
Well, Suri Chopra joins us right now. He's the leader with the CPIM, the party that runs the government in Kerala. Mr. Chopra, thank you for joining us. Do you know if the Kerala government plans to approach the Supreme Court to contest this bail?
No, I'm sorry. I have no idea, because at the moment, the Kerala government is dealing with the mob coming down from all over to Sabrimala. And there is enough to be done to ensure that the Supreme Court directions for Sabrimala are carried out peacefully.
Mr. Chopra, are you of the argument right now that the Kerala government can only do one thing at a time?
Yes, because you have the floods. If you know that half of Sabrimala area, the buildings are not okay for people to come there.
Okay, so Mr. Chopra, in that case, why doesn't the CPIM
it's not
step aside
such a simple thing.
if you are not able to manage more than one thing at a time? You are running an entire state, and that entire state will require attention.
It's not more than one thing. I told you the flood thing is not done.
Well, by that argument, the Franco Mulakkal case was registered before the flooding started, so that should take precedence. I refuse to accept this argument of inefficiency.
You'll get to know that.
Mr. Vikram Singh, is it true that the police force of a state can only do one thing at a time?
In the court, the government so far has handled this case
This
very
is an
well.
absolutely
and it
absurd
will
argument,
continue
Faye,
to do so.
that the government has to fight out hundreds and thousands of things in the same time. And if there is a government that says that will do only one thing at a time, it does not deserve to
They
be
do,
in office.
but what has
There are
happened
hundreds
to
and
the
thousands
case
of
of
things that
Mr.
need to be
MJ
addressed on a
Akbar?
daily basis, and
Similar
you cannot
case
shy
of
away
Mr.
from it.
MJ Akbar. What have you done?
My dear sir, for
One second. Mr. Chopra, Mr. Chopra, Mr. Chopra, you've obviously not received, Mr. Chopra, Mr. Chopra.
then it is mob lynching.
All right, cut the mics.
Then Mr. Suri Chopra and other
Debate already
politicians
ഞാനുണ്ടോ?
will not come to the point.
One second. Gentlemen, forgive me, I've had to reduce the audio, but Mr. Chopra has obviously not received a brief that he is on Mirror now, and he is not on one of those channels that screams loudly about other issues when we are talking about one thing. Now, Mr. Chopra, we are having a conversation about MJ Akbar at 9 p.m. This is not that conversation. Our conversations on the channel are about accountability. Now, I will not ask you about MJ Akbar because he doesn't report to you.
Everything
You
is
are running the
happening in
state of
India
Kerala,
with
so
the
I will
Indian
ask you
state
about
of
the state of
affairs.
Kerala. Now, you tell me again, if you believe that the Kerala police ought to approach the Supreme Court
With regard
to
to
stop
Kerala,
this bail.
The court has expressed, with regard to Kerala, the court has done what it believes to be correct. You know the Hadia case in Kerala, how patiently the Kerala government had to handle that. In the same way, these matters should be handled patiently, correctly, and firmly, and they'll do it.
Okay,
I can tell you they'll do it.
they'll do it.
I know that.
I wonder when. Do you know who the Catholic Federation of India is, Mr. Suri Chopra? Have you heard of them before?
Sorry?
The Catholic
I can't
Federation
hear you too
of
clearly, but do tell me.
the Catholic Federation of India. Are you familiar with this organization?
No.
I'm not surprised. The Catholic Federation of India made a threat.
Is this new organization that came into being to defend him? Some organization had come to defend him recently.
Okay,
Is
Mr.
this what it
Chopra,
is?
if you don't know, allow me to enlighten you. The Catholic Federation of India is apparently a group of lay people who threatened the victim and the witnesses, the nuns in question, that if they were to protest against the Catholic Church, that they will be ousted from that convent. What has the Kerala government done about this threat?
When it is a matter of the church, it is their business.
No, it is not.
It is not a business of the law.
No, it
If
is not. I'm sorry,
if
the
these
church
people
doesn't run a
come
parallel system
and
in this
ask the
country.
Kerala government
Mr. Suri
about
Chopra, you
eviction,
seem to have a very keen
discussion
misunderstanding
that
of law and
takes
order
place
in
on
this country.
eviction.
Mr. Suri Chopra, the church doesn't run a
Is
parallel
he aware
system.
about some law?
There is no law and order in this country. There is no law and order in this country. Did you not hear what General Shah said?
Okay, all right. I'm going to give Mr. Suri Chopra a couple
And
of
what
moments to
the
gather
SIT
his thoughts, how many ever he might have at this point. Ramakant Gaur, here are the arguments. Kerala government can't do more than one thing at a time. They're busy with Sabrimala, so they can't look at this. Secondly, threats have been made by the so-called Catholic Federation of India, and the Kerala government has done nothing. Is this legal to threaten to throw those victims out when these people have zero authority over either the building or the house or the church?
Mr. Chopra has expressed his inability that this government cannot run the state, they cannot deal with the law and order issue. He's not aware of the fact that there is a law in this country, and he's saying that church will take care of its own matter. It's a case where a criminal offense has been alleged. FIR has been registered.
See, let us
investigation
not bring in-
is
let us
taking
not
place,
bring in
and
very
investigation
false
is being
narratives
botched up.
No, please wait for
Sir.
your turn. Ramakant Gaur, please finish what you're saying.
Sir, it is not about the church.
Mr. Chopra has stated
Sir, this
that
is not about
it's
the church.
church's
Let us not bring in
business, and
random narratives
Let me
and
complete, gentlemen.
dilute or
Let me
divert the whole
complete.
issue. the law of the land, let the due procedure of the land happen.
Okay, first of all,
There is
please
no
wait
due
until
procedure
someone
being
asks
taken
you
place
a question.
in West.
Ramakant Gaur will answer the question, and Ramakant Gaur is reacting to the fact that Suri Chopra feels that the church should handle its own matters and the law and order cannot intervene. Mr. Gaur and Mr. Vikram Singh, I'm sure, are of the agreement that there is no such system in this country. That if you break the law, it doesn't matter what religion you are in. And also, let me remind you, Mr. Kevin Mathew Sunny, that there is no agenda on this channel other than the safety of women. Now, Mr. Kevin Mathew Sunny of the Kerala Christian Forum, since you are so interested in defending the Catholic Federation of India, can you tell me who these people are, please?
See, Faye, nobody is defending victim shaming. Nobody is defending trying to intimidate the victim. See, my only point is there might be certain very few miscreants that happens. Every bunch has a rotten apple. But please don't use that to generalize and attack the church or the believers or the faith.
Okay, one second, Mr. Kevin Mathew Sunny.
Mr.
Sunny. Okay, hang
flawed,
on. Don't get upset. This is not one of those channels. Let me remind you that I was also raised Catholic, and this is not about religion. Nobody's attacking the church. Nobody's attacking its believers. Nobody's attacking its followers. I am talking specifically about the man who has been accused of rape, who is now out on bail. I'm talking specifically about this so-called Catholic Federation of India headed by some P.P. Joseph, who threatened these nuns. And I want to know why no action has been taken against these people. So if you are going to turn around and say, stop attacking the church, you're on the wrong discussion, because nobody here is attacking the church. So I give you a moment to consider your arguments one more time.
Before, see, that is for the law of the land. See, that is for the governing bodies, that's for the government, that's for the police, that's for the courts to take.
So what's your point?
And see, how we have a system, we have a judicial system as a system of law, however flawed it may be, it is the best we can have at this point. And let us take its due course and let us not put things
so
into
the due course, right.
You know what?
Right, so the due course then, Kevin Mathew Sunny, would be to appeal to the Supreme Court to cancel the bail of this man immediately, because he has given us nothing but evidence that he will use everything in his power to intimidate the victim. Indulekha Joseph is an advocate and an activist working on the ground. Ms. Joseph, could you please tell us what instances have you encountered? Do you believe that there is evidence here to go to the Supreme Court and appeal to revoke the bail?
One quick point.
No, 1 second. Indulekha Joseph is speaking, please. Go ahead.
From the submission of the that Mr. Chopra itself shows the attitude of the government. The government is not considering this issue and is not giving proper weightage to this issue. And you know, before the court requires submission from the part of the government. So the government has failed to appreciate the court regarding various aspects with respect to the granting of bail. And another vital aspect to be considered is that while that accused person was in custody, certain political leaders like K.M. Mani, P.C. George, and also the Bishop of Palai and Arakkal Bishop, all these luminaries visited the jail. This visit itself was a plot that was with a view to pressurize the government in order to take such a stand before the Honorable High Court. So especially in the case of a bail application, the government or the state has the duty to enlighten the court with respect to various aspects. So that was not properly done. So now also the state mechanism is saying that they are not having time to look into this matter.
No, hang on. Kevin Mathew,
Pardon?
Are you in the habit of speaking out of turn? Why are you laughing at her? Do you have evidence to prove that what she's saying is false? Give us the evidence now.
See, no. See, I was telling, let us
not
read conspiracy. Let's not read conspiracy into each and everything.
Where is the conspiracy?
Happened.
Hang on. Are you being disrespectful to her just because she's speaking? What evidence do you have to refute what she is saying? Where is your evidence?
So there is not. It's not about refuting. It's not about refuting.
So you'll just laugh at a woman when she's speaking without any evidence?
Fly goes, let us not read conspiracy.
Listen, unless you have a point to add that you can back with evidence, sitting here and sniggering at other guests is not allowed. Okay? You have a point to argue.
See,
You have a rebuttal.
what
Offer your
evidence
rebuttal,
does
please.
she have about the claim she has made? Faye, what evidence does she have about the accusations she made? A few people visited the bishop. I agree. These people have visited, but there has been no statements. No, the church has always been on the position that the law of the land has to absolutely prevail with absolutely no intervention from the church.
But hang on,
And then now
one
what
second,
is all
one
this
second.
about
Kevin, Mathew,
conspiracy
Sunny.
and,
Okay, but okay. Kevin, Mathew, Sunny. She was not talking about the church. She was talking about the Kerala government and the evidence, the weak evidence it has placed before the court. Now, you have come here obviously to take offence on behalf of the church repeatedly. Nobody has even brought up the church. I think you should listen a little more carefully when people are making their arguments. But Indulekha Joseph, do you want to respond to him? Please go ahead.
So he has made it clear that the church is not making any statements against the victims. So he ought to have gone through the statement of KCBC, defending the accused bishop. So the problem with the church authorities is that they are not maintaining a neutral stand. They could have maintained a neutral stand. They are taking the position or they are taking the side of accused bishop. That is the biggest anxiety that is being faced by believers at large. How can they take such a decision? And this is a kind of pressurization that is given to the governmental mechanism. So the government is left with no other option.
Okay, all right. So I just want to answer one question that we've received from our audience before we go to Abraham Mathai. This is from Lavanya Udupi, who says, if the case is in court, what is the point of asking questions of the government? So here I want to take this question to Mr. Vikram Singh, who is the former DGP Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Singh, it's very important to ask questions of a government when a case is in court, because the court can only decide based on the evidence that the police places before it. If the police places a weak case before the court has no choice but to rule in the favor of the accused. Is that not true?
So true, Faye, because what you have said is the gospel truth. You and I and the people cannot be silent spectators to what is happening in the court of law. We have to debate, discuss, question, and see what options do we have. And in this case, we see, as it is very clear, that yes, all facts were not put before the court cogently, logically, and forcefully. And therefore, as Mr. Ramakant Gaur has said, and Ms. Jacob has said, that we need to move to the Supreme Court. The very fact that the matter is sub judice, yes, without going in for criticism of any court, whom we hold in the highest respect, without committing any contempt of court, we need to understand what remedial measures can be taken, what precautions can be taken, and this is exactly what we are doing. The viewer is very well in the right to say that yes, but to feel that we can be silent spectators to what is happening in any court of law would again be a travesty of justice and would be not accountable to our conscience, collective conscience also, if you just to be mute spectators. It is our job and it is our duty to understand as thinking citizens, as duty-bound citizens, to ensure that yes, opinion is made and whatever help or remedial measures can be taken to assist the survivor, that action must be taken and a public opinion must be built around that.
Mr. Abraham Mathai, President of the Indian Christian Voice. Mr. Mathai, are you familiar with this group of people who call themselves the Catholic Federation of India? And do you understand why they have issued threats to the victims?
Yeah, this is the first time that I've heard of this organization. I believe this organization has just been created just to defend this bishop who is accused of rape. I don't think, and I'm sure you also being a Catholic would not have heard of this organization earlier. So I believe this organization has just been created as a defense a kind of platform. But let me tell you, the Kerala police, as all of you all said, has not done their job properly to convince the court that the bail should have not been given. Because generally what I've heard from other advocates, my friends were saying that once the charge sheet is filed, then there's a possibility of the court giving bail. Here the charge sheet is yet to be filed. So there's a strong chance for the Kerala government to move the Supreme Court, and they should do it.
Right, and
Yeah.
Do you think it's
Because
unusual,
generally
Mr.
bail
Mathew? Let
is
me just
given
close this
or-
one
or
matter.
even considered is only after
Mr.
charge sheet is
Mathew,
filed.
do you think it's unusual that even though this Catholic Federation of India, like you said, has just mushroomed now to defend the bishop, and it issued a notice saying that if the sisters start a second phase of protest against the Catholic Church, we will launch a protest to throw them out of the convent. Shouldn't the Catholic Church have officially come out and disown these people and say that they don't represent the rest of the church? We have no idea who these people are. They are not an official federation. Why was there so much silence in the church?
Of course, the church should take action against that organization, and failing which, I think the nuns can approach the police for action, because this is actually a threat being issued to them. So if the church doesn't take action against this organization, they should approach the police for taking action against them, because this is a kind of threat.
Sir, what action can the church take? What action can the church take? What action can the church take?
Of course,
See, when you say
because
the church should take
this is
action,
the
the church
Catholic
is not a body
organization
that can dole out punishments.
The church should expel these guys from the Catholic Church. The church should expel these guys, these office bearers of the so-called organization, out of the Catholic Church. They should be expelled. They should be expelled for making such threats, especially once the matter is in the court, a case has been registered. Who are these people to even threaten these nuns? So you are saying the church should not do anything? Of course the church should act on this. They should take action against these people.
No.
And in fact, they should expel these people from the church to show that they are honest.
In fact, I'll take, even if you don't want such a drastic...
I don't think it's that simple.
It's not that simple. What about a statement that simply says that these people do not represent the voice of the church? That's simple. Why wasn't that done?
Exactly, perfectly, Faye. You hit it right.
Why
That's
wasn't
simple.
that done?
The church has already
That can
come
be
out
done.
with its statement. The church has already very clearly expressed its statement. The church has very clearly expressed its statement that both these people are children of the church. Both the accused and the bishop are children
that's not
of
good
the
enough. I'm sorry, Kevin Mathew, that is not good enough.
No.
It is
the
not
church
good
should
enough.
be
I'm sorry.
specific.
The church's behavior in this particular case has been dismal.
Organization.
The church's behavior and its silence has been almost complicit. Whenever you are silent about the victimization of women, you allow it to happen, and that is something we all need to think about. The fact that the church did not come out, first of all, to say that we stand by the women of this church, they allowed for this to happen. Then when they did finally speak after much ranting, they then came out and said they're both children of God. Really? Is that how you feel, that they're both children of God? And when these women who are in the care of the church, who have given up their lives for public service, are being threatened, are being attempted to bribe, they're being intimidated, the church is standing by in silence? Is this what we expect from the people who are supposed to look after us? It's completely unacceptable. It's unacceptable. But hang on.
But you have to understand. One question to you.
They should disown that organization.
Who was there? Who was
the least that they can do.
There with?
What is your question, Kevin Mathew?
See, it was also the church, it was also the believers, it was also the faithful who was there with the victim and her people at Cochin, where the protest was happening.
No, don't take credit for that. Don't take credit for that. Those people were actually standing up very bravely against the church.
The church didn't support the victim while they were protesting.
Okay, I have a quick question for Ramakant Gaur. According to reports, one second. Ramakant Gaur, according to reports, the police has submitted to the court that 22 statements are yet to be taken, and the charge sheet has not yet been filed. The investigation is not yet complete. Is it unusual for someone to be granted bail when there are still statements to be recorded?
This very fact implies that there was no change in circumstances on the basis of which second bail application should have been granted. Normally, what I would argue that bail is a right of the accused and jail is an exception. But here, jail is the justice and bail is travesty of justice. This is a case where FIR was registered delayed. The law is, if there is a disclosure of cognizable offense, you must register the FIR immediately. Here the FIR was not registered. The accused was arrested after 3 months. And when the accused was arrested, he was given VIP treatment. He was not taken into custody as if the other accused persons are taken and interrogated. He was given VIP treatment. Now, when the witnesses and the victims were intimidated, the police did not take action, which is again fortifying the argument that the investigation is being botched up by the police themselves. Now, police is not behaving like the savior of the
country. One second. Kevin, Mathew, I'm going to say this again and I'm going to say it politely. Please do not talk over another guest. Nobody can understand what either of you are saying. If you have a rebuttal, raise your hand. I will come to you immediately after the guest has spoken. Okay? Now, for the arguments that you are asking, does Ramakant Gaur have proof? I will answer the question for you. The Kerala police submitted a signed affidavit before the Kerala High Court on the 13th of August this year, saying that Franco Mulakkal had committed rape and unnatural sex on the victim multiple times between 2014 and 2016. It is the same police then that allowed for this man to get bail. Our question is, shouldn't the police approach a higher court if they truly believe that he shouldn't get bail? And did they put up a strong enough fight? That's the question that Ramakant Gaur was answering. I would appreciate it if you allow him to finish his arguments. Mr. Gaur, please go ahead.
So this is a case, normally in second bail application, court looks into the fact whether there is certain change in circumstances. Here, apart from what I see as a criminal lawyer, that there is hardly a change of circumstance, whereas there are aggravating circumstances where the bail must not be granted. So if this accused is considered as a respectable citizen, then who would be considered as criminal? Somebody who has violated the sanctity of a woman, more so tampered with the evidence, intimidated the witnesses. This is something which is a grave offense apart from the rape itself. He has tried to affect the criminal justice system and he must be punished for this. At least as of now, he must be brought behind the bars, and this can be done only by virtue of making an appeal. Now, if the state government is busy in Sabarimala, they have good counsels here in Supreme Court. They can the Chief Minister need not to draft the appeal. The council would do that business. Only thing is that they should have willpower to look at whether the women in that state are safe or not. And we need to ponder over this issue. If the women are not safe in this country, in this state, then they have no right to administer.
All right. Now, Kevin, Mathew, go ahead. What is your rebuttal?
See, now you're selectively putting things in. Now you're saying that the VIP treatment is because the court gave bail. See, earlier you were saying that he was given VIP treatment in the jail. See, the thing is, but now you can see. I think this is a very prejudiced discussion. See, one part of the
prejudice
one
against
part you are saying that such accusations can be made without any proof.
Prejudice against whom?
See, about giving VIP treatment to Franco Mulakkal.
About giving VIP treatment to Franco Mulakkal.
You're talking about giving VIP treatment to Franco.
Yes. Are you aware of the fact that a team of bishops visited him in jail?
The person.
Are you aware of the fact that a team of bishops visited him while he was in jail?
Yes.
Yes, you are. How many bishops visited him when he was in jail? Do you know?
Yes. I'm not specifically sure, but I think there was like the Pala bishop was there, along with a couple of others. I'm not
a minimum of 6 people visited him.
Who else was with him?
All right. Now, Mr. Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, for a rape accused lodged in jail, is he allowed to receive a team of 6 people as a courtesy visit? These are not his lawyers.
Let us understand that every jail manual has a provision of meeting, what is known as mulaqat. And meeting is under specific conditions, under CCTV coverage, and mass visits are just not allowed. I think the state facilitated this kind of a meeting and this kind of a hullabaloo because they have, I don't know what kind of a respect, undue respect for Franco, and that is the reason why they spread the red carpet for people like PC George and the 6 bishops to visit Franco. This is absolutely uncalled for and indicates the mindset of the government and the wavelength and the thinking on which they facilitated this kind of an interviews that went on. What a crying shame for the administration, not only for the government but also for the jail administration. This is totally unacceptable, but there will be a time when this can also be inquired into in the circumstances. Yes. What provision of the jail manual permits you to do a thing like that?
Well, let me ask Mr. Suri Chopra. Mr. Suri Chopra, was Franco Mulakkal given VIP treatment when he was in jail in Kerala?
Yeah. I've been listening very carefully. I've been listening very carefully to you, and I'm sure that the Kerala government will take the steps required, because I know for certain that they are determined to get this case through properly and ensure justice to the nuns.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a question now for Indulekha Joseph. I'm reading out of the order.
No, that we'll fight for.
Yes. I'm reading out of the order, Indulekha Joseph. It says, I am of view that by imposing appropriate conditions to safeguard the interest of the prosecution, the applicant can now be released on bail. Do you believe that the conditions that have been imposed safeguard the victim or the survivor in this case? Ms. Joseph.
The conditions,
I don't think that those conditions can protect the right of the victims, because these conditions, as you all know, even while he was in the jail, there was movements by the missionaries of Jesus and all. They were meeting the chief minister and all. So even at the time of his imprisonment, there was influence from the part of authorities. So these conditions are only limited restrictions. So we have all seen that he is a person with great influence and power in the government and also in the church mechanism. So with this, as he is an influential person, I don't think that these restrictions are sufficient enough. So there will be further instances of victim and her supporters being influenced by the church authorities. So he will be actively participating in those games.
Yes.
For manipulating the victim in one way or other.
Yes, and here's Mr. Abraham Mathew. Unfortunately for both of us, we are being faced with some very harsh truths.
Yeah.
A visit of a group of 5 or 6 bishops to the jail sends a very wrong message, because if the church would have us believe that these are both children of God and we are not going to choose between either of them, how come the 6 bishops didn't go to visit the victims and the witnesses, the nuns? Instead, they went to visit the accused in jail. Are they truly equal children of God then? Is that sending the wrong message?
I totally agree with you. Yeah, if they have said in their statement that both are the children of God, then they should have visited the victim also. Yeah, to show that they were really concerned in the case. But I think if just going and visiting the accused has sent a very wrong message. As I said, the church in this case from the beginning has not shown that they have dealt with this case rightly, because she had complained to the church authorities long back.
Yes.
She came to the police only in the month of May or June, if I'm not mistaken. So had the church taken some proactive step in the first time when she complained, this would not have reached this stage. So here, as we all know, that the church has failed in this case particularly.
Well, we've run out of time, and I appreciate your candor, Mr. Mathew, and I know that this is a difficult comment to make for you specifically, and I appreciate that Mr. Suri Chopra has said that the Kerala government will do whatever is necessary, and I think at this point what is necessary is to approach the Supreme Court immediately to revoke the bail granted to Franco Mulakkal because of the damage he can do to evidence, the intimidation to witnesses, the intimidation to the victim. I just want to point out here, and I'm reading page 3 of the order. Shri Vijay Banu, learned senior counsel appearing for the applicant, in this case Franco Mulakkal, argued that the survivor is a lady aged 44 years old and there is no explanation that has been offered by her for the delay in setting the law in motion. Now, I want to remind you that we have evidence that the victim had been writing to various members of the church, starting from the parish priest right up to the Pope, in the 2 years before she went to the police. And because she received no answer from any of these people, she then set the law in motion. Was this argument not placed before the Kerala High Court by the police? Was the argument not placed before the Kerala High Court that some random organization has surfaced in the last couple of days, calling themselves some sort of Catholic organization, threatening the nuns that they will be thrown out of their convent? Does that not sound like intimidation? Does it not sound like intimidation that various witnesses were offered money and were then threatened with excommunication? Does that not sound like intimidation? Were these arguments not placed before the High Court by the Kerala police? How? How is it that the police made such a weak case that this man, smug as he looks, is out on bail when the investigation is not complete, the charge sheet has not been filed, all statements have not been recorded? The Kerala government may be preoccupied with other things. That doesn't mean you can look away from what's happening here. If you are accusing other parties of misusing religion for elections, it seems now that you are doing the very same thing. If that is not true, if you are truly in fact secular as you claim to be, approach the Supreme Court tomorrow morning and make sure that Franco Mulakkal stays in jail where he belongs. To the Catholic Church, you need to be clearer with your communication. Firstly, about which side you are on. Secondly, if you are truly on neither side, don't send contingents of 6 bishops to meet the accused in jail, because that shows which side you are actually on. And when dodgy organizations using the Catholic Church's name pop up to threaten the victim of rape, please display the spine to come out and disown these people, in the very least. The silence of the Catholic Church has been shocking in this case, and the incompetence of the Kerala government is even worse. What we need to remember tonight, viewers, is that politicians will use religion to manipulate us because it's the easiest way to do so. We need to separate our emotions from the law. We need to separate our emotions from the truth and see what's happening here. Justice is not being served. Thanks for watching.